Okay, I had to make a second one now today. It's still November 8th, and it's because, first of all, the first one was wild. Um, and now, at this stage, a few hours later, is I want to speak about the power of the subconscious mind, how it is having way more power than the conscious mind, and that a lot of the results and what the behaviors and what is going on are coming from what the subconscious mind has running for us for various reasons. From when it's conditioned from experiences to go in this certain way. And if we are on such habit of getting the same results in life, feeling that there's a stuckness or that our responses are always the same, um, any stagnation, any repetitive, undesirable reactions, then that is however much we want to figure out how to solve specific events, problems, niches. Again, like I've said before, the root of the solution, the religion of the behavior, of the experience, the religion of the experience is also the subconscious of the interaction. And our subconscious, what it's set at, to reset it, there are many techniques which I'm being trained in right now in NLP, and there are techniques to just pattern interrupt that pattern, to interrupt the pattern. Sorry, it's shaking. However, if those techniques aren't known, breath, stillness, quietening of the self, space, awareness, a fabulous five to our soul will let us have more conscious say in redirecting, reframing, redesigning what we are when I'm holding it, when we're on such fast autopilot, routine, ritual, got such a, that busy life is what is getting in the way of that new life. It is. It's the thing. It's the fast movement, because when we're constantly going, constantly being outwardly stimulated, constantly being just distracted and attention engaged, if there's more attention outward and there's less attention inward, then when we just look at the results of the events of what's happening, then of course we're going to be like, well, the problem is out there. But the thing is, I move around when I'm talking so much, this bed series is just not for me. So, what was I saying? So moving so fast, being on repeat and thinking that the problem is out there because that's where the triggers go off. That's where like the final, if you lose the race, you think like the problem is at the finish line, but it's like before you ever ran in the first place, before you ever put on the shoes, that's where like there was nothing wrong with the track. There was nothing wrong with the clock. There was nothing wrong with the other people. There was nothing wrong with what you were thinking in that moment, as much so as what made you think that way in that moment, right? Like, so anything that we think there's this problem that we can't fix, that we can't get over, that we don't change, that other people just never change, our perception is coming from the behaviors of our subconscious, which are like controlling 90% of everything that's coming outward. So if we don't take time to step back, sit still, open up to what you might feel is emptiness, because if you take away your problems, if you didn't have any of your problems right now that you have, the real problems that really exist, that are a real problem and you've had for a long time and you're still trying to like get them gone. If you didn't have any of those, what would happen? What would you have? And the weird thing is, as much as we don't want those problems, if we didn't have them, well, we would have less things than we have now. And even though they're not good things, even though they're things that we don't want right now, they're still keeping us attentive, responsive, energized, active, alive, and with meaning. If we're attributing so much meaning to fighting this problem, and that there's so much meaning coming from this problem, like there's so much that has to happen in order for this problem to be solved, for this healing to happen, that's a big mountain. That's a battle. That's like significant. And that's a basic human need. So without the problem, will you feel significant? And without being able to sit in stillness and quiet the habits, the patterns, the opinions. If you're like a strongly opinionated person and like something happens and you're like, you got an opinion and it's full force and you just defend opinion. How much could you go with having no opinion about it? Think about it. Could you sit in like a mindfulness place of just observing that things are going on, conversation is happening, differences are arising and occurring, and it is what it is? Because the strong opinions that we defend are what bring us to exactly where we are. They're what keep us exactly where we are. They're what we deal with, and we deal with again, and we deal with again, because we fight for this opinion. We fight for what we believe in. So what do you believe in? And to know that takes quiet. It takes like not always being plugged in, tuned in, listening. It's this inward relationship with ourselves that really is going to be the solution to our relationships with everyone else, everything else, how we relate to the world. When we change how we relate to ourselves, because we're able to realize what our self really is all holding. Because otherwise, how are you going to tap into your subconscious if you don't start observing the branches that are coming from there? And that's like, meditation is not needing at all to be the premise that you sit and don't think of anything. It's getting comfortable with staying with yourself in whatever you're thinking. And noticing in a mindful way means noticing that is almost as if it's a screen in front of you. That when you hear thoughts, they might be intense, they might be loud, they might be fast, they might be slow, they might be dragging, they might be really heavy, they might be powerful and strong and sharp and severe. That they come, and just as fast as they come, they leave. As more thoughts come, rise, make us aware of them, and then they leave as new ones come. So when we're sitting here and our thoughts keep coming and going, and they're all of different nature, but the one that we just had a minute ago isn't here right now. If I asked you, what was the thought you had 60 seconds ago? Well, you wouldn't know exactly what that one was, because that happened 60 seconds ago and it's past, it's gone. But you remain. You're still here, but the thoughts aren't. Then you realize, okay, you're not your thoughts. So who are you? Essence is able to be realized and felt more when we observe what isn't essence. If we do not attach to thought, if we attach to a thought that comes up and we think about it and we think, oh my God, yes, and we grab onto it, and then we speak about it because we feel it and we've attached and we've embraced this thought, and we know it's right and we know it's real and we know it's our opinion and we know it needs to be said, and we build up on it. Then we're running with that thought, that train of thought. We're going with that. However, all the other thoughts are still moving, and that thought would have kept moving if we didn't move with it. So when things are happening fast, happening repeatedly, to our avail, that we're like, don't seem to get a grasp on, seem to be at the mercy of, seem to be like the victim of events, any external thing. How much do you engage with these things? How much do you believe them to be real? And that's choice. And that's space of choice to really understand that if we're having the same story that we had moments ago, a week ago, 5 weeks ago, 5 months ago, 5 years ago, if you have the same story you had 5 months ago, 5 years ago, let it go through stillness. And that stillness, that space, is not emptiness, which can be what's feared. I have feared that if, oh my gosh, I used to say, like, if I don't have these problems, then what will I have? How will I be of significance? What will I just do? My psychologist was like, you'll be happy and you'll start enjoying life. You'll be you. You'll be able to be you in new ways, to develop that.